when I position my marketing, when I'm using you guys, I explain to people the value that that you guys, your technology offers. I always do the walkthrough floor plan and the 3D video for exactly the reason you were talking about before, which is I want buyers who see this house online to not only ooh and ah over how beautiful the pictures are, but to have some real information to help them know if this is the home for them or not. For a home seller, it's an imposition to have people come into your home and have to leave. And to hear, before I used you with the floor plans and things like that, I would hear this a lot. Oh, the floor plan didn't work, or it wasn't the right, there was something about the house that could have been easily explained up front that wasn't the right fit. And so for me, it's not about how many people I get through a house. It's how many qualified people this house works for that I can bring to a listing.
No, Brenda.
She's coming.
Oh.
She's running later than I am. Welcome to the Real Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig with Keller Williams, licensed in New York and New Jersey, hosting today with
Mike Van Mansart with Cross Country Mortgage.
Brenda will be with us shortly, but we have a very special guest today. Jim, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Jim McHugh from Home Tour Vision. We're a real estate visual marketing company. We do the photography and all the wonderful virtual tours for your listings to showcase online.
I love that. I've been working with you guys for a few years now. And you guys are great because you offer a lot of different things that make my listings look amazing. And so, I always talk to people about, like I call it photo day, right? So I talk to them about photo day as like the most important day of the part of listing a home, because we are making their home visible online, which is where everyone is going to look and see it, right? You make your first impressions, which count. And so, as we've been working together over the years, I've really started to position that day differently with my people. You guys have a really great structure to how you work. And I know when your guys show up, they are ready to go. And so in the past, I might spend time running around the house while the photographer is setting up, and I'll have time to like hide everything. But your guys, they're there, they're busy. They've got another appointment they've got to get to. And so, it has really changed the discussion I have with my people. And then knowing how the pictures come out, I know how to help them make their rooms pop. So that all being said, we usually start the show with a little, what you guys been up to? How was your weekends? How's business going? What do you got going on?
Who would like to start?
Are you going to start, Mike?
Sure. It was business as usual this weekend. Popped in a couple open houses, said hello to some people, and then on Sunday I did a long hike, which I swear was a bait and switch tactic, and said, it's only a 7-mile hike, no big deal, but it was 7 miles, climbing 2,000 feet elevation and all kinds of other stuff in Beacon. But, I complained half the way, and I was grateful that I did it when I got home. I was just exhausted, but it was a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. This is the time of year when you kind of appreciate where you live, right? When everything's green and it's not too hot yet and it's like not too humid, so you can kind of get out and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
I know that this weekend I had a mix of a million different things, right? So Saturday I had a lot of clients, so I was on the road almost all day. Sunday we had the Keller Williams picnic, right? Our family picnic.
Cool.
Which we had over in at the Thomas Bull Memorial Park, and there was Keller does such a nice job of being so inclusive of your family, and so they was at one of the pavilions right by the park for the kids to play. We did kickball for the kids. There was badminton set up. Then they had a barbecue food truck, a Prosecco food truck, and then an ice cream truck showed up at the end. So, and we had a live band. It was a fun,
perfect day for it.
yeah, it was a fun afternoon. The weather was perfect. It was fun to see everybody in a more relaxed atmosphere than when we're like bumping into each other in the office, running from point A to point B, like chickens with their heads cut off. So that was really nice. And then, in the evenings on both those days, Mike and I are doing a home improvement project. What could possibly go wrong? We're building one of those kind of like gazebos in the back of for the back of the house.
I remember you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. And so, the instructions say can be built with 2 people in 12 hours. Mm-hmm. That's a lie. At one point in time yesterday, there were 6 people, and we've already put 12 hours into it, and we've pretty much just got the framework done. So our project will continue now all week. We are no longer weekend warriors.
Yeah, I feel like you ordered that a month ago.
We did, but it's been sitting in the garage. And listen, sitting in the garage until we thought we really set out the time. We're gonna get this done. No. Oh well.
It happens.
How about you, Jim? What's going on?
Nothing as exciting as that.
Oh, that can't be true.
Well, I'm up from, excuse me, I live in the state of Florida now. Mm-hmm. So I come up to New York once a month and either to help out my team or meetings, and that's what I ended up doing this week. And so I helped my team out on a couple shoots, and we sponsored an event yesterday for one of our clients down in Westchester. So I wanted to stop by and say hi and hung out a little bit. That was fun. And that's it. That's my weekends.
That's
Do you
it,
do
huh?
That's it.
The home tour vision down south too?
We just launched in Central Florida.
Oh, cool.
So that's a growing market, and then next will be more down to South Florida.
I just read something like 61% increase in inventory in Florida, so that's a big.
Florida is a hopping market right now.
A
lot of the South
that'll be good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually on that topic when I did hear that the inventory in Florida was opening up, and I don't know if that's more new construction that's gotten to a point where it's now in the sell phase, or is the market really just loosening up a little bit there?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think a lot of it is new construction.
Yeah.
They're building just like they're doing here. Everywhere where there's land, they're building.
Yeah.
Florida's a very transient state, and especially with COVID, a lot of people had moved down, but a lot of those people are staying
right
in the time being. So I think it's a lot of.
I guess my question is, second part, with all that inventory, do they still have the buyers to support that inventory, or?
It looks that way because you have a lot of buyers that are moving down
Nice.
from
A lot of
different parts of the
companies
country.
are moving south for tax purposes, so I think that's going to be the big. What I've read about Florida, because I know very little, other than people that I do loans for that are moving down there, is that there's not enough schools for people to bring their children to. So all these families want to go, and they have all this employment, but they're restricted in the school system. So that's kind of like, I think Florida's going to focus on maybe building more schools so that they can drive more families down there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they have a lot of building to do to support the amount of people that are moving in.
Well, and it also feels like, every hurricane season they have rebuilding that they do as well.
Yeah.
So I know that I was talking to a builder up here about things like the cost of construction material. And what he had said was, when you have something like Florida, where I guess 2 years ago they had, 2 different hurricanes hit on the west coast of Florida, so much of our building material for the East Coast is going there. And so for him to get the material he needs to build, he has to pay more. And that's part of what's, driving up his, material cost.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting insight that I had not really thought about or heard of before.
Yeah, we don't really think about it.
Yeah.
We're not builders.
That is true. That is true. So we are here today with Jim from Home Tour Vision. And before we take our first break, Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started the company?
I don't know if we have enough time before the break.
Well, we just continue on.
All right. So I'll make it quick. I lost my job back in 2009 when the economy collapsed, and I kept on seeing signs for real estate agent. Not something I wanted to do, not something I thought I would be good at, but signs appear, you follow the signs.
Yeah.
So I got my real estate license, and I did real estate probably for about 2-3 hours. I did it for about a year. I did well. It wasn't for me. I was going through some personal things. So I left it, and I always wanted to be involved with video. As a kid, I actually wanted to go to Hollywood and be involved in movie making. That was my dream. Never went to school for it. So I picked up a camera while I'm finding some dead-end jobs, and one of my realtor friends said, "Oh, you have a camera. Would you mind taking pictures for me? I can't make it to take pictures." And I didn't know at the time how to take pictures. And I made the attempt. I saw pictures. And while I was doing real estate, I wanted to stand out if I got a listing from other people.
Yeah.
And this is 14 years ago, there was not many options out there.
Yeah.
For pictures for virtual tours. And I was also showing buyers homes, and there wasn't many. And I remember back then, the MLS here was 18 pictures.
Right.
As opposed to now, I think it's 36, right? So it was very limited what people were seeing, and we're wasting time going to homes that if they saw online.
Right, I had a better understanding.
Better understanding,
Of what it was.
we would have saved a lot of time.
I gotcha.
And also what was available for media was very expensive. It was for luxury homes, not for the average home. Anyway, I shot photos for this home. I was talking to the homeowners. They were losing their home in foreclosure.
Yeah, it was that time too.
And they've been in the house for over 40 years. And they were talking about all their memories. And I remember seeing videos for these luxury properties online of the cameras just floating through the home. So I thought there's got to be a way we can do that for the average home. I looked into it. I asked them if I can do a video to give them for a keepsake. I did a video. I didn't know what I was doing. It was the worst video I've ever seen. It took me like 2 weeks to edit it and put it onto a nice DVD, gave it to the realtor to give to them. And the homeowner called me crying.
Oh, that's really nice.
And which confused me at the time, because I meant it as a nice keepsake, but she said I captured her memories, 40-something years of memories. Walking down the hallway, they remember different memories as living there. About a month later, the realtor called me up and asked me if that works on the MLS, and because she would like to hire me, and then I started Home Tour Vision 6 months later.
Wow, that is amazing. We're going to hear from our sponsors really quick, and then we're going to come back and follow up with many, many more questions.
Cool. I don't know, radio jingle.
That's okay. This is the international sign for taking a break.
Oh, gotcha.
And Brenda is here as well.
Yes.
Break the bread.
Break the bread. Brenda, welcome. Hey, Jonathan. So,
I just took my logic pills.
oh, are these to make you smart? By the way, did you talk to Tom Sicardi this morning?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. We'll follow up with that after.
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
Hey.
I'm glad you made it.
Hi, I'm Brenda.
Brenda,
Hi,
Jim,
Brenda.
Jim,
You're
Brenda.
really familiar.
There's got to be other hot people out there too.
It's not just me. I'm not alone.
You look familiar too.
Yeah, I got that face. You must be in real estate. So, holy shit. Wake up this morning, I'm like, where's the car? Oh, because we ended up at the garden center.
Right.
After the shelter fundraiser.
Right.
So we had a couple drinks there at the garden center. We're like, we can't drive. So we walk home. On the way walking home, we stop at Murphy's for
Right.
Guinness for a nightcap. It was fine. We were like, and then this morning, I'm like, holy shit. He left the key, his work car key, in the Bronco. And so he ran to get the car. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot, too. I was like, and there's no Ubers. There's no lifts. I'm like, oh. Anyway,
Need a bike.
I want to get bikes.
Like a beach cruiser.
We have a bike up at camp, which is nice because we'll hit the trail. It's like a trail bike, though.
Yeah. Oh, I'm coming back. I'll bring us in.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig, hosting today with...
Brenda Wiley with Howard Hanna Rand Realty.
And
Mark Mansart with Cross Country Mortgage.
we have our special guest today.
Jim McHugh from Home Tour Vision.
Excellent. So right before the break, Jim was telling us about how he, I guess, basically started his company, his origin story, which I love. We were just leaving off where he had done his first video for someone sort of haphazardly and doing some pictures for a friend. And, kind of keeping in mind what at that time was being done for luxury and really with a kind of mission to try to bring that quality of photography as well as some of that technology to the everyday home seller. So so after you did this first video and you had this emotional reaction from this person, how did that roll out from there?
Well, I had a lot of thinking to do and how to figure out how to get this media for a realtor on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God I did that little time as a realtor. So they say follow the signs, follow the path. You never know where it'll take you. That's what happened. And I was able to slowly roll out a system to where we can do photos and now video on a more mass scale that was only being done for quote unquote luxury properties, where anybody who is looking online, because they say the search starts online.
Yeah, I think 96 or something percent.
That's where they start their search, and that's where we can give them the information so they can make that decision. Is this the home they want to go see? Is this the home they want to purchase sight unseen, which happened during COVID a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, my first listing actually. And they took my staging stuff. They were like, "Oh, we thought the shower rod and I was like, "No." But yeah, it was literally sold virtually. The day they saw it was the day they closed for the walkthrough.
Wow.
A lot of that. Yeah.
I had a couple of those as well. When when I position my marketing, when I'm using you guys, I explain to people the value that you guys, your technology offers. I always do the walkthrough floor plan and the 3D video for exactly the reason you were talking about before, which is I want buyers who see this house online to not only ooh and ah over how beautiful the pictures are, but to have some real information to help them know if this is the home for them or not. For a home seller, it's an imposition to have people come into your home and have to leave. And to hear, before I used you with the floor plans and things like that, I would hear this a lot. Oh, the floor plan didn't work, or it wasn't the right, there was something about the house that could have been easily explained up front that wasn't the right fit. And so for me, it's not about how many people I get through a house. It's how many qualified people this house works for that I can bring to a listing. So, that was my big aha moment with you guys. And, I think I started working with you guys in probably before COVID, but then you guys made, really made a jump in your technology, or at least put it more forefront in how you're really helping people market their homes when people can't get in them. And I was just like, oh yeah, we're definitely doing that. Because before that, it was just, oh, they take nice pictures. Like that's how I would hire my photographer. I'd look at their pictures. Oh, they take nice pictures.
So what are you doing differently now? Like, I downloaded, we had somebody, your operations guy, come in to Rand's office, I want to say about a month or two ago, and we all literally downloaded the app at the same time, and then we got the special code, and of course one agent was like, "Here's my code," because you get like a little bonus or whatever. Yeah, and I was like, "Stop! I want to be able to give my code to somebody else and like pay it forward."
I love the fighting. That's great.
Yeah, but the app is like super easy to navigate and use. So
yeah, well the app helps you as a real estate agent with all the marketing material. But I'll start from the technology part. When I started Home Tour Vision, there wasn't much technology. Yeah. Virtual tours back then were a single panoramic.
It was like a video of the pictures you already saw.
Yeah, slideshows. Yeah. So they didn't do anything, and video was out there, but not to where it is now. Yeah. We helped, bring it to at least the Hudson Valley part, and then 3D tours became a thing. And there are a couple other systems out there. The one you use, Christine, is iGuide for your listings. And that is my favorite. It's a floor plan 3D tour system. So when people are online, they're not just looking at a floor plan, they're not just looking at a virtual tour, they're actually looking at both at the same time. So they can navigate through the home and see where they are on the floor plan. So it's less confusion. They get a great perception of space. They could measure to see if their furniture fits.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge. I just moved to Florida 2 years ago. I'm in Ashley Furniture Store with my iPad measuring to see if my furniture is going to fit. So it saved me so much time. So that gives people a great perception of space, gets rid of the tire kickers. They see the layout, and now if they're interested, they can move forward and go in and see the home. And iGuide was responsible for a lot of the sight unseen homes
Absolutely.
being sold during COVID. 'Cause during COVID, we had to do virtual tours just about on every listing out there. As far as you mentioned the app, we created, now when I started, they didn't have this technology. I had to create a website for every listing for you to put on the MLS. Now our system's automated. It creates branded, unbranded property websites that host all your media, social media, graphics, flyers. So it's an all-in-one visual marketing system for your listings.
Yeah, for sure. And your pictures, it always starts with, the quality of the photography, the quality of the video you guys do, because if it wasn't high quality and you didn't capture what agents were really trying to express, as agents, we weed out what doesn't work for us, right? And then we really embrace what does, because we don't want to recreate the wheel every time we have a listing, right? Which is, for me, knowing that picking a photographer used to be very stressful, and now it doesn't. I have 2 or 3 guys of you that from your company that I love to work with, but I've never had someone, sometimes I get someone new and I'm just like, oh, okay. I've never had an experience where I thought that someone new coming into your company was creating something less than, or sometimes you have that, just the confidence I get working with you guys is worth $1 million.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. Very selective on who I choose to be on our team, and they have to go through all the, because I want your experience to be consistent. With it, and like you said, what you're going to get for every single listing, and it's got to be easy, and it's got to be simple, and it's got to be quick, and most of all, it's got to be great quality, and that's what we strive on. So with the help of technology throughout the years and a very hardworking teams, I know they're listening. You guys are great. They're great. I have a great team, and they know what they're doing. They love what they do, and we want to provide the best for not only our clients, which is you guys, but your clients, which is because it's their homes.
Right.
And I think for me, it's about the time save, you know what I mean? And especially when you have a couple of things popping off at once, I feel like that's just the nature of the biz, right? It's okay, you have 2 new listings, now you're getting buyer leads, then you have somebody that's can you rent these cottages for me? And it's I don't have the time to handhold or to be on hold or to schedule, or it's just bam, 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 on to the next. Right. Especially when there's a good experience, a proven track record, it's rinse and repeat, which is everything for me. I use the same inspector, it's important to have that consistency, you know.
So the next thing I want to kind of dig into, which is what are your suggestions for homeowners out there thinking of selling? What makes a good picture? What should they be doing around the house before, before you guys get there, or before I sit down have the big powwow about picture day?
Well, for homeowners, and I just went through this, you want to try your best to declutter, depersonalize the home. And it's hard, we all live in our homes. But for instance, a kitchen, so all the beautiful drawings that our kids make us in school, and we put them up on a refrigerator, take those down, pack them away for your move. Pictures all over the refrigerator, whatever you can do to...
Magnets. I'm a big anti-magnet girl. Keep those away.
You should see my fridge.
Pet toys, kids' toys, put them away. Anything that you can make the home as much as possible like you're ready for an open house. Yeah. You want people to visualize what it's like for them to live there, not another family. It's a psychological thing too. Backyard, front yard, hose away, toys away, set everything up like you have an event coming up. Right. And be ready. Picture day, so when our photographers come, they have a job to do, and they have multiple jobs to do. But be ready, step aside, let them do their job, and your house will look the best as it possibly can.
It always cracks me up when I get the pictures, and I the day of, I'm like, oh, I have to remember to move this thing, right? Whatever it is, maybe it's a hose, because I catch that a lot. And then, it's everything looks amazing. And then I see the pictures, and there's that silly hose that I didn't move. And it just, sometimes I think it's because everything else is exactly right, like how you want it to be. And then you that one slash of color across, you're just that hose is going to be it's all I'm going to see every time I look at this picture.
Yeah, it's going to stand right out. Well, that's where we take care of it in our editing too. Yeah. We can just about remove anything that's in the picture. You know, sometimes it's that car in a driveway that hasn't started in 17 years. We can take that out.
Yeah.
So, but as a whole, it's just best to try and throw everything into your garage or
Right.
a pod or a storage. And,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be doing it eventually anyway, right? Like,
Correct.
just get a jump on it. You don't realize how much stuff you have until you start.
That's what
digging
I
in.
always tell people. I say, listen, we're listing your house to sell it, and you are going somewhere. And so I know it feels like, oh my goodness, why am I packing already? But all of the things you're decluttering, that's going to be your first step of packing anyway. So you know, get the big Rubbermaid containers or cardboard boxes, whatever it is you're going to use to store your stuff. And I tell them the same thing. Put it in, you know, the garage is the best if you have one, because then you don't have to bring stuff upstairs later. But really, anywhere you can stash it for picture day, and you know, for the week or two, fingers crossed, we're going to be on the market. You know, it's better. It's not like we're moving it, asking you to declutter stuff, and then you have to put it all back out. The real goal is to use picture day as your goal day for having all of that stuff taken care of, because from that point forward, people really are getting that first impression from being online.
100%. And you could also get in touch with, you know, depending where you're going, if you're hiring a local mover, a lot of the moving companies and storage companies will actually sell different styles of boxes, really neat and clean. I know my brother's company does that, and they also have garment boxes, which are huge. As you're going through and you're starting, like if you haven't worn it in a couple of years,
Maybe it
you
doesn't
could
need to
toss
make
it,
the
you
move.
could donate it. Maybe it doesn't need to go. Maybe where you're going is going to be 85 degrees every day, and you don't need that, like, you know, heavy coat. So get in touch with your local mover and see if they can help you out with some of the storage boxes. Because the plastic containers are very expensive, just saying.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
They're like triple what they were, man. You know, the container store freaking bins?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I was trying to like declutter my basement from the flood.
$10. $10 for those black bins.
Yeah.
I get them at Lowe's. I have like.
That's where I got mine.
Wait, how much are those?
$10 with the yellow tops. Yep, I got
And
like
you
50
can
of
like
those.
slide them in. People make like custom.
But how
slides.
deep are they? Are they like?
I think
They're pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
My whole
Plus you
basement
get
is
the
filled
veterans
with them.
discount.
I know that there was a time when I moved 8 times in 9 years, and I just used the same bins. Sometimes I'd even unpack the bin from one move to the next. But those bins were priceless on the moves because they can carry. Like I just felt like I could lift
They're
them.
like indestructible.
I could drag them. It's like they were waterproof.
I just kept going to Amazon and I kept going to freaking the container store. I should just go to Lowe's.
Yeah, black bin with the yellow top.
We got a couple of those for Justin when he went out to San Diego for where he was stationed, because you know we knew he wasn't coming back for years, other than you know a couple of days here or there. So we put all his stuff in the bins, and then we put those bins behind the. Yeah, we put those bins behind the wall. And Brenda's like, "It's
Some
true,
lock
it's
on, too.
true."
You can throw like a
As
lock
usual,
on.
Tony. Oh, I'm so excited.
All right. So when we come back in, what should we talk about? Should we talk a little bit more about what makes great pictures? Do we want to talk about some of the other technology or what you guys do? Like, what would you like to?
Open house this weekend, right?
God,
The
what
first
technology
hour and
we
a
have?
half was like.
I feel like, well, how do we talk through the services you provide? Because I know it, you know, but we didn't kind of go through
Okay, yeah,
One
yeah.
card
what those
over,
things are.
And then another card over, like, are you
And then
agent? And they were like,
that will
"No,
lead
we're
to
here."
something else.
All right.
And then we're going to do Mike's Mortgage in a minute.
I'll explain
Jim
our
came in,
boring photo process of each artist and before we take a color at some time. Then we'll do jokes, traffic and weather, and we're out of here, I guess, right?
Doesn't matter.
Pretty much.
So they like start.
fastest
them,
hour on
1
radio.
o'clock. By the time they get to you through the other one.
The last people that came late to the open house, 3:30.
You want to bring us there?
Oh yeah, cool. Any coffee? And welcome back. You're listening to the Real Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Brenda Wiley with Howard Hanna Rand Realty, and I'm here today with
Christine Koenig with Keller Williams, licensed in New York and New Jersey, and
Mike Van Mansart with Cross Country Mortgage.
and our special guest today.
Jim McHugh from Home Tour Vision.
So I've been very excited to have Jim on. I've been using his company for many, many years. They do an amazing job, and you know, this gives me a good opportunity to kind of dig in a little bit, learn a little bit more about his company, the services he offers, and so I can make sure I am, you know, choosing the best set of, I guess, visual aids to sell a home. That he has different photographers you have kind of focus on some different things. So depending on what sort of choices I'm choosing is kind of dictate who is going to come to my house, correct?
For some of the services, for instance, we shoot aerial photos and video, and not all our photographers are licensed because you have to be licensed to shoot.
Right.
To operate a drone, so depending on who that is, some of our photographers are just photographers and maybe do video, and not trained on a 3D tour camera like we talked about with iGuide. So depending on that service, we might have to send a certain photographer.
So, so the services that you guys offer, I guess, or the option, the menu of things, right? Straight photography, which you guys do, and it's so interesting when I listen to the camera taking pictures when you guys are there. It's like click, 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 click. What is happening there?
So we shoot what's called HDR. People do get confused by that. They think we're taking 1 million pictures.
Yeah.
So we're shooting HDR, which is the camera's taking multiple exposures of the same picture. So if you get a total of 40 pictures delivered to you the next day, that's actually 200 pictures that we're editing. So for every picture, it's 5 different exposures from extremely dark. So if you ever use I'll give you an example, your cell phone, smartphone to take a picture of a room with a bright window. What usually happens, the room gets dark.
Right, and the window is overexposed.
Well, either the window's overexposed, if you're trying to expose for the room, or if you leave it in auto, the window is, you can see through the window, but the room gets dark. So the camera can't adjust like we can with our eyes. So to prevent that, we shoot 5 separate exposures from dark, exposing for the windows, to overexpose and fill into the shadows of the room. We blend those together. So when you're looking at our pictures, you're able to have even lighting throughout, like we're seeing here in the studio, for adjoining rooms, and you're able to see clearly outside the window. And you can only do that with either a lot of light or our processing, which is multiple exposures. So it's a lot of, it helps us on location to be quicker. So we're not moving lights from room to room in different angles. And that's why you hear the cameras taking all those different shots. A lot of it is the processing that happens overnight.
Right. Interesting. So another thing I've noticed over time, right, sort of like, marketing trends change. For a while there, it felt like all pictures were presented in a way that they were like slightly overexposed, right? Like maybe some of the
unrealistic,
right? Like some of the saturation of some of the colors kind of came down. Do you guys have like a color arc that you try to aim for, or like if someone says, I want my pictures to be like high contrast, like can you guys adjust for that for someone? Do different real estate agents have different preferences about how their pictures look, or?
Yes, they do. We try to strive to be as natural as possible. If you see a lot of pictures online, depending on the photographer or depending on the camera or the cell phone, indoor lighting and sun is probably our biggest problem, because indoor lighting is warm and daylight, the sun is daylight. When they clash together, it creates an orange yellow feel to it. Very, very, very warm, very contrasty, very saturated. And that's why sometimes you'll see on the MLS some bad color pictures. We try to make it as natural as possible. But then we do have realtor clients who want a little bit warm for certain rooms or certain homes. Older homes, and then newer homes, they want more of a cool feeling to it. Yeah, so we can make those adjustments very easily.
Okay.
I have a question, and maybe you already talked about it. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on the whole Twilight picture? Because everyone's been rocking out the Twilight. I don't know. Like, do you want that as your cover shot? See, that I think is
the sunset in the background.
Yeah, the Twilight pictures. It's like that doesn't really look that pink,
Yeah, it's it is what it is. We do sell a lot of them. It's an attention
It's like an
getter.
add-on. Yeah, it is. It is.
Right, it's different. Well, it was different. Now
Yeah, like everyone's using them as like
that's-
cover shots.
Well,
now, it's like-
well, years ago, and they still do it. There was a virtual Twilight shoot where you would have to go out at night, and nobody wants to go out after dinner to go shoot a Twilight. And it's expensive, so now you could do it virtually, where we could turn a daylight picture into a sunset or a Twilight picture, and it gets attention.
Yeah. I think depending on the house too.
Yeah, absolutely depending on the house.
One of the things that always, and I'm going to say used to be for me, because now I've let it go because you guys are so good, was the rainy day shots, right? Like, to me, I would think someone running a company where you're shooting houses for real estate, you must sometimes look at the weather and be like, this is going to be the worst week ever, right? You guys came out and shot a house for me. It was downpouring. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do here. And actually, you were the photographer.
Yeah, I was the one that was soaking wet by the time I got back.
You were. And, we had talked about, when you first got there, the rain was heavy. And you had said, listen, if the rain it keeps up like this, he's like, we can come back and shoot the outside tomorrow. He's like, but if it lets up, we'll be fine. And I said, trust the process. I said, okay, you guys know what you're doing. So we did the inside. By the time we got out, the rain had let up a little bit. But it was still gray outside. It was, soaking wet. And when I got the pictures, it was amazing. You guys had put a nicer sky in. It was blue. The exposure was fine. There was plenty of light. The house looked great. So, technology really has come a long way. And you guys also did a most amazing job removing a storage container and a treadmill.
That's right.
We were trying to remove the treadmill physically, and Jim's like, just stop, I'll take it out digitally. I'm like, what? Yeah. He's like, you'll never know what was there. Let's save everyone this hassle.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I think we also did that in the iGuide too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was really amazing.
You have to remove like personal pictures, because I get clients ask me when an appraiser comes through, are they going to take pictures of all my pictures? I'm like, well, they typically will blur them out in the images that we get, but do you guys remove them completely?
We can remove them. It depends. We've all seen homes cluttered with pictures. You have to, if we're removing the pictures, which we can do, you got to build what's behind it. I know a lot of people think Photoshop is just a click of a button and poof, but you have to build what's behind it. Which is easy enough for most of the time, and sometimes it's just so many pictures. Yeah. But we tend to blur them out, and then if you want, we can remove anything. We've decluttered the room we're talking about where we could fit all our stuff in our boxes for picture day. We can declutter that in editing and make it look like it's a clean room.
Yeah. So
I get that question a lot. People feel like it's invasive. They're going to blur it.
Right.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
definitely want to blur it.
Or take them down.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think the fear is like you take them down and then you just have like these
bare walls.
Yes, bare walls and like the outline of where the frame was.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of why it's better to blur it out, but we can remove it or we can replace it with something else.
Yes, I had one client who had, it wasn't that she had a lot of pictures, but maybe 5 or 6, but each one was her, were her children, and it was very personal, the pictures. And so I had said to her, I said, just a reminder, this home is being marketed on the internet. How do we feel about these pictures being on the internet? And she's like, oh no. I'm like, okay. So, I worked with a photographer, and they just switched out actually for like a lot of like nature feeling scenes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In one of them, and it was really fun. In one of them, they put a picture of the front of the house in it to make it right, kind of like tie it together. It was really fun.
Yeah. So anything like pictures, like personal pictures, people have maybe degrees or on the wall.
Yeah.
That stuff. If you can't remove it, definitely mention it to the photographer.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of the rest of it.
So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
just thinking about pictures right now.
I know I have a new listing going up this weekend, and you guys did the pictures for that. And that was again like the reverse struggle, which is you have an empty house, right? And
Yeah.
it's hard to get the scale of rooms in empty houses, especially when you're looking at a picture. I mean, it could be a huge room or a small room. You have no idea. And I had counseled them as they were emptying, removing a lot of the furniture from the house to leave 1 or 2 things in each room to try to help scale. But you guys also have tools to help with that.
We have virtual staging where we can, we have a catalog of furniture just about for every type of home, every room, inside and outside, where we can help people visualize the layout of a room, what they can do with it, with different types of furniture. Which is a big.
Yeah, it is a big help. I remember I had a house for sale over in, oh my goodness, my brain. Anyway, it was in Warwick, but the house was empty. Even with the floor plan done, it was a very different floor plan. It was very hard to see how you were going to use this room. Like there was a very big room, but had a big fireplace in the middle of it. right? And so it ended up being like a donut shaped room. And so like you had to partition the room off in different ways. Part of it was being used as an office. You'd use part of it as a dining room, right? So we ended up doing the visual staging just to help people see how that space could be used, because it was such a different kind of a layout, and the house was vacant, and like it was. And I didn't do that for a few weeks because I didn't realize what the problem was, and then the feedback kept coming back about this room, about this room, about this room, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what we need to do now.
Yeah, the virtual staging, and it's. You know, when we put the listing in, and it makes me crazy when people don't do it, but, you know, we know, like, that's not really, you know, furniture, but we do have to state, you know, that this room is virtually staged so that you're not misrepresenting the house, the style of the house, or the contents in it. So.
And my concern is always, and I see it sometimes on not good virtual staging, is scale, right? Like when, like, oh, let's set this dining room table here. It needs to fit in this space. And so, you know, the scale is maybe smaller than any dining room you could actually buy to fit in that space, right? So I'm sure that's a struggle for you guys.
It's a struggle.
Is figuring out that scale situation.
Yeah. So we use a 3D modeling program to try our best to make the furniture fit in that space, to scale. It's a struggle, but it does a great job. And again, if it's something that needs to be tweaked, then we could tweak it too. But it's for the most part, it's very, very accurate. With us again navigating where we can turn furniture around, we can make it bigger, smaller, longer, shorter, based on the room.
Good. So we're going to take a break, listen to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
No, you're not.
All right, you're up.
All right.
Mortgage Mike.
Mortgage Mike.
I did that thing for the veterans thing today.
Oh, good.
What veterans thing?
I think I talked to you guys about it when we were at the
event.
Yeah, the event.
When is it?
It's Thursday.
Oh,
Do you want to come?
Jonathan might go for ClearPath. Is it a daytime thing? Or?
No, it's an evening thing. What is it, like 6:30? 6:30 to 8? 6 to 8? 6 to 8:30? 6 to 8:30 feels right.
Yeah, he maybe I'll go with him. We had between the two of us, we had 9 events this week.
Wow.
Yeah, like 3 fundraisers. I don't even know why.
6 to 8:30 at the Lancey's.
At the Lancey's.
At the Lancey's.
Yeah. And it's an open bar, heavy appetizers, whatever that means, but I'm going to assume I can eat.
That's how they're advertising it?
Heavy appetizers. I know.
It's like eggplant rollatini?
Right,
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah, you're right. There'll be plenty of food, and you can fill up there, and then they got like a guitarist playing, then we're going to do like...
Who's like sponsoring?
It's the family for
Family for Wounded
no,
Veterans?
I'm going to get it right. It's Mike is going to read it to you. I have the answer is I need to learn it because I'm on this board and I know that
Families of War Veterans.
There we go. Families of war veterans. But what these guys do is they give out money to families who need help, who have a veteran in the family and they're down, something's going wrong with them. So it could be, sometimes it's a mortgage payment, sometimes it's rent, sometimes it's money for food, sometimes it's doctor's bills, sometimes it's setting them up, paying for some services like they do like equine therapy. They'll help people pay for that.
Yeah, that's like right. I mean, I don't know. I think Jonathan would be good networking for him.
Yeah.
I think we're coming back on. I'm gonna find your text because I think you sent it to me.
I did.
Your CK.
There it is. That's the one.
It's a good marketing piece.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Christine Koenig, hosting today with
Brenda Wiley, Howard Hammer Rand Realty,
and
Mike Matzart with Cross Country.
And we've had a fabulous guest with us today.
Jim McHugh from Home Tour Vision.
It's been a pleasure having you on. I think we'll circle back for a few last questions, but we're going to talk to Mike Van Mansart, the mortgage guy.
Mortgage guy.
Mortgage Mike.
Hear what's going
come in
on
here and have like great news and say the rates fell off a cliff and we're all going to start buying houses again. But I mean, it's pretty much business as usual. I know that on the break we were talking about the veterans event that we have on Thursday.
Yep.
I can quickly talk about just some of these programs that are designed for veterans. Like we obviously have the VA loans. We have a VA new construction loan, so you can actually do 100% financing on new construction. And then we're very much rolling out tons of programs for down payment assistance stuff. And then I mentioned last week that line of duty death benefit for anyone that's an EMT or first responder. That is something where their mortgage will be forgiven up to $525,000 if they, hate to say it, die in the line of duty, right? So that's to help with the family, obviously, and not have to worry about a mortgage payment. That's something that's brand new that we rolled out a week ago. It's gonna, I think, go crazy in New York State because NYPD is one of the biggest employers, I think, in the state. So on top of that, I've been doing a lot of, it's called Community Promise is our name for it, but it's essentially $6,500 in down payment assistance and then an additional $500 towards the appraisal. So clients will get up to $7,000. It is specific to the area. I don't want to say it's a blanket for everybody. So for instance, I got a call, someone was working with another bank. I went through everything with them and I said, hey, you actually qualify for this program. It gives you $6,500. You want to take advantage? Sure. So immediately put them into that where it gives them the advantage of having basically $6,500 for free, right?
That's awesome.
It's not a second mortgage. It's basically just comes from the lender and some grants that we have through Fannie and Freddie. And so that was a win for her. She can use that money for down payment. She can use it to buy down her interest rate or just eliminate some closing costs, right? So it frees up options. I think statistically what we're seeing is that people are comfortable with the mortgage payment. Where they're struggling in this market is the down payment part because they're going up against people with 20 and 30% down where they're just 3% buyers, right?
Right.
Or maybe they're 0% down, whatever. But these are the struggles that I'm seeing, and any way we can give them extra money to kind of strengthen that offer is the way to win right now. I don't know how else to do it, but that really is. They're like, Mike, I can afford that payment. I'm like, great, but we don't have the cash to get you to closing because it's just so much, in New York State, like the cash to close. But we are seeing, concessions from sellers. That's helping out a lot. I had one with a $12,000 concession recently. I think it's just having the sellers understand what it is, that they're still netting the same money. It doesn't really impact them as long as the house appraises. But that's kind of where we're at. I mean, the rates have been the rates. That I haven't seen an up or down tick. We had a good pullback last week, but then they just started ticking right back up. So they're still in that 7 range, give or take, depending on the program.
How are appraisals? Have they been? What are you seeing lately?
They're on point. I haven't, knock on wood, had any come in low. I am having conversations because people are still bridging appraisal gaps. They're saying, well, Mike, I'm offering $10,000 to the seller to bridge the gap. What happens? And I say, well, there's a couple ways we can look at it. I can simply reduce your down payment on my side so that's not extra money coming out of your pocket. It'll impact your payment slightly, but it's not 10 grand out of your pocket, right? Or whatever the number is. Right. But those are conversations we're just having ahead of time. And knock on wood, like I said, they haven't been under appraising.
Right, and that's going to be buyer specific anyway, based on
on down payment.
What their scenario is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are always going to be some version of minimum, right? So if you have a 3% buyer, it might be harder to take that out of
harder.
that. So.
Well, and
it's
also
a different conversation.
I feel like sellers or listing agents, and I've done it too, just so we're not behind the 8 ball, but asking for proof of funds for that appraisal. Like, here's your down payment for the loan, but then now you're saying you're going to cover an extra 10K. You're only putting 10% down. Like, show me the money,
Right.
And it's an uncomfortable thing to ask, but it's better to get ahead of it than to be like halfway through the loan and be like, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah. For me, I feel like when we want to see that, like when I put out that we're gonna do highest and best, if that's what we're doing, I ask for that right up front. And like my letter to everyone, like, here's what we're looking for. If you're gonna do this, please supply that. You know what I mean?
You got to get ahead of it.
We're doing a lot of these fast track approvals where it is essentially a completely underwritten loan from start to finish. All we need is an address attached. Address, taxes, title. Like, that's literally what it is. And those are helping buyers win, because if the realtors understand it and can explain to their seller, this is basically a loan commitment, just need your address attached to it, that's just as good as cash. So you just have to have them understand that, right? And that's the hard part, because when you look at someone that's cash, obviously you lean that direction, right? Oh.
I don't know. Like I have to tell you, like, you know, the cash is king. A deal that recently closed, we beat out 2 cash offers.
Right.
That's
We
good.
put together a really great offer, and you know, getting creative, but also being able to pull it off. Just because you write up a really pretty offer doesn't mean the attorney's gonna sign off on it or agree to it, or that it's even possible. So, but I feel like getting creative is like,
well, it's give and take, right? Maybe
Yeah.
your buyer is willing to wait a little longer and the seller doesn't want to be out right away. Or I find a lot of times with cash is that they use it to beat out other offers and then they just slowly try to change the offer terms
Yes.
as they get inspections and stuff starts going. And that's why I kind of tell clients, look, it's okay to be the second one in position, because a lot of times those first position people get cold feet, or they realize, hey, maybe I don't want this house, or whatever the reason is, and they walk away, and then you're the first one.
I love being the backup offer.
Yeah.
I love it. The last 2 bids I got were both backup.
And
both,
chances are the backup people are more committed to that purchase. Like,
yeah, they keep
that's
following
what-
up.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you see the listing is still active. Why is it still active?
I wish
Why
we
is it
could
still
just
active?
share these experiences with everyone so that they understand that this is
Too
just
many.
the way
We'd have to
yeah.
write like a couple of books, I
know,
think.
true.
You know?
But either way, you know, to button it up on the mortgage thing, it's business as usual. Deals are getting closed. They're closing quickly. I don't have any issues really with appraisals, knock on wood. I see some municipal stuff that slows down, and then title. Title's actually been coming in very quick, so you can tell they're trying to get busy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really it.
So I think the attorneys are ordering it quicker too, some of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're now realizing that it's a service industry, and I think for so long attorneys never felt that they had to be a service industry, because it's just like, hey, I'm an attorney, I'm doing this and this contract review. Now it's all about the experience, because if a client has a bad experience at any step in the process, are they really going to refer that person again?
Right.
And that's what
Right.
you know, the deals aren't falling out of the sky anymore, so you have to create the best experience possible. And I think attorneys are realizing, hey, I really have to step it up, you know, with my experience for these people.
I know, you know, it's very interesting. As a real estate agent, if someone says to you that they have an attorney, you cannot, no matter what you know about the experience of working with that attorney, you can't like try to take that business and give it to another attorney. If their primary attorney finds out, I mean, they're going to sue you for that.
Well, what you can do, and I've done it, and it's above board, if that attorney is a family friend or something, and maybe they live in Westchester or Long Island, I will say you are stacking your offer a bunch, you know, against several offers, and you may want to consider working with a local attorney that has some name recognition, that knows the rules, that knows about the Warwick, you know, tax preservation fund. So though that is important, but all I do is I give them the information. You can, this is their fee, this is their information. You decide what you want to do, but this may actually help you. And honestly, like the friends and family lawyers, like I'm not knocking, but like you're probably getting a discount. So are you going to be quite as responsive? Like pay the $1,500, like get a local, you know, just, I don't know. That's just my feeling. That's legal, right? Christine's giving me the eye. She's giving me the one eye.
We need an attorney here.
Right, I cannot confirm nor deny.
I plead the fifth.
No, my point with it is I really do think that everyone's just stepping up their game.
Experience.
Yeah.
100, yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's where we're at.
well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes left. We'll just spin back around to Jim.
Do you want to plug your event on Thursday real quick?
Yeah.
The veterans thing? Oh, I don't even have the email or text.
Oh, I had it on.
On Thursday night, there is a really great event being hosted by the Committee for Families of War Veterans. This organization raises money for families, families of veterans that may be struggling or going through a hard time. It's not an overly arduous process to apply for the relief that you might be seeking, and this is going to be a fundraiser to work with that organization and allow them to continue to do the good work they're doing. So that is going to be at Delancey's on Thursday night
In Goshen, right?
In Goshen.
I love that place.
Tickets are $60. You can come in and buy at the door, and there's going to be appetizers, wine and beer, performance by Dean Scala, who's a great guitarist, and then you hear from the powers that be about different people they've been able to support this year and stuff like that.
That's great.
So if you guys can make it Thursday night at Delancey's, we'd love to see you all. So that's my my story. And
like that.
And just like that.
I have a plug really quick.
Yeah.
Greenwood Lake Street Fair is sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, Saturday, June 8th. We have now about 75 vendors. Hope you can come. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Exciting.